Hey everybody, Nick Trigili here, IFBB Pro, bringing to you some Arnold Classic coverage 2019. I'm going to be covering the Classic Physique division and also the Men's Physique division. So to kick this off, let's talk about Classic Physique. This class has been just ongoing, growing since it came out. It's really picked up a lot of pace. The talent's just getting even crazier and crazier as the shows go on. As you guys know, George Peterson is going to be entering this show, and he is probably, my guessing, he's my front runner to win the whole show. I believe it's him and everybody else. There's only two guys from the Olympia in this show, and that's him and Courage Opera. He placed 10th at the Olympia. Now, his physique is strikingly way different than George Peterson's physique. He has more of like a Terrence Ruffin, Keon Pearson flow to it, where you have George where he's heavily muscled, extremely detailed. He's like granite, crazy conditioning, huge back, much different physique. So George, for some reason, they really like that physique for Classic, and that's what they've been going with. He placed third at the Olympia. I believe he's the front runner though here in this lineup at least. George Peterson going into the show, I don't think there's anything to worry about, to be honest. As long as he comes in 100%, it'll be lights out, show's over. For second place, I have Courage Opera. Since he was the third, since he was third at the Arnold once before, and was 10th at the Olympia, there's no one else strategically in the lineup that could beat him as far as placings go. On top of his physique, it's just been literally he's been building on it for the last 3 years. It's been getting better and better and better. From there, I have Keon Pearson, who is an athlete of Blackstone Labs. PJ Braun has been bringing a lot of publicity to this kid because his physique is just literally outstanding. He has a wasp waist, big arms, great sweeping legs, a good back. The only thing you really pick him apart for is his chest fullness. He definitely needs more chest fullness, but with the delts and arms and everything else he has, and the wasp waist, which is really what completes the package, and he hits that frontal bicep, it's lights out for him. He could be anywhere in the top three. Not that I don't think he could beat George Peterson here, but just to say he's definitely in the fight for top three. He could end up second, honestly, which will be a huge accomplishment considering he placed not that well at the Olympia and the other shows for himself. Even though he's got such a crazy physique, he's definitely small statue-wise, so he doesn't size up well against a lot of these guys in the class. But with his lines and his muscle bellies, he'll outclass people for sure in the future. There was a guy named Steve Norris. He's coached by Neil Hill, I believe. And this guy's physique is tremendous. He won the Pittsburgh Pro, I believe. Waist is probably below 30 inches. It has to be. The kid's incredible. He looks like something that was cut out of like a cartoon magazine with his dimensions. The waist and then the leg size to the lats to the arms. Doesn't really have any weak points except for that he's just only going to get better. And this is probably the worst he's ever going to be, which is really scary to see the potential in him. You can't really sit there and critique anything on him as long as he comes in shape, conditioned, separated, which I don't think Neil Hill will miss a beat with him. He's going to be very dangerous, and he also could be anywhere from second to whatever. Could give George Peterson a battle. We don't know. As long as George is 100%, then it'll be George and everyone else. So he could give George a run for his money. I have him fourth, though, just as if everyone came in 100%. That's where I have him. And then I have fifth, I have Wesley Visser. Now, Wesley had a very upset placing at the Olympia. Has a tremendous physique, great vacuum, great big rib box to do a great upper chest poses. Side shots are amazing. His legs are not the biggest legs when you look at the rest of his physique, but the way he poses and presents his body, you don't really recognize it. But if you really look him like and rip him down, you can notice that his legs are definitely undersized a tad. Will they be bigger here? I hope. I hope he's been improving. As long as he comes in shape, and this is what I say for a lot of people, most of these guys, if they're off a little bit, it's done. Not many people in this physique in this lineup can carry through if they have it if they're off in conditioning. Especially Wesley, he has to be 100% nailed because he's a little square in the top. But he does have such a classic-looking physique. Huge chest, big arms, big delts. He's very broad up top. As long as he brings it, he'll do very well. He definitely needs redemption here to secure his spot in the top 5 in this division, for sure. Just come and shred in, and he's good. Don't knock me for pronouncing this gentleman's name wrong. His name is Pontier Pierre. Tremendously round, shredded, doesn't have any weak points. I think it's really going to come down to what the judges like when they place him. For me, he's a top 6 guy. Doesn't present anything that I would say that I have to say, oh my God, that has to fix that. Very balanced physique overall. Just keeps improving, and I think his placings will go up, to be honest. I don't see anything that's going to hold him back, except for himself not being in shape. And then to round this off, I just have Khalid Chikui. He has got extremely shredded physique. Lacks a little bit of the 3D look, which a lot of these guys in this lineup have, which is the only downside to him. He has more of that flatter muscle, doesn't pop as much, but he is razor sharp most of the time. I think if he comes in peeled and someone misses their beat that day, he could sneak up definitely a few spots and definitely upset some people that day and get a higher placing. But he's definitely one to keep an eye on for other, even for another tier 1 show like the New York Pro or, Europa or anything like that where he can sneak up and win a show easily. Let's go over to men's physique. Now, men's physique has a couple new faces that transferred over, and men's physique has a couple new faces that we have seen tremendously just making great gains every year, not stopping, not switching divisions. A couple guys are just literally just nonstop competing. And it's a really good show. I think that this class is probably the most anticipated one for behind open bodybuilding. And only because there's a lot of rivalries here. This division's been around a little longer than the Classic, so a lot of these guys have a lot more deeper emotions and feelings towards each other, and you can tell more the rivalry's greater. But the Classic hasn't really got that rivalry yet. It hasn't built up yet. So I like seeing these guys, even though I'm not a big physique, board shorts kind of guy fan, but I like seeing the rivalry. Now, these guys don't have weight classes, remember. They just have to come in shredded. So some of these guys are getting really big now. And some of their physiques are pretty outstanding, I'm not going to lie. So to watch this class is not that bad anymore. It's a much different look from when they when the division first came out, where they had more of a streamlined beach body look. Now they're pretty big upper bodies, pretty much almost like a bodybuilder. So my front runner, I have Raymond Edwards. Raymond has been competing since 2014. He turned pro in 16. He's done over 15 shows, has a lot of experience on that stage, and I think this is his show to win. I don't see anybody beating him. I believe Andre Ferguson could give him a run for his money because Andre obviously is going to place very high up in the top 3 or could win it. He could beat Raymond. But I think Ray's going to have redemption here and he's going to win this show. Andre also has been competing since 2013. He's a front runner to win. Turned pro in 14. Took 5th at the Olympia, and he won the Arnold last year. He is definitely a favorite, but just Raymond Edwards has a lot of momentum going into the show. These guys obviously trash talk each other a lot. And there's a lot of controversy going into the show. Obviously, everyone that follows these guys on social media sees it. But there's also 25 guys in this Classic division, guys. 25 guys, a lot of people. As a sportscaster, as a fan, it's hard to keep track of how many guys and who they are and what shows they've done. just to even keep up as a sportscaster, let alone a fan. So, as far as third place goes, I have Kamani. He's coming off three first place finishes. He's razor sharp. Has a physique that could win any show at any given time. But with these guys in the show, Andre and Ray, they're just too overly muscled for them. They're too 3D. Their proportions are just wild. Their backs are outstanding. And I think back department is where these shows are won, because you're only doing two turns, the front and back. So when their backs are that good and that next level, it's hard to compete when a guy is only one-dimensional. But Kamani is coming up. Every show he's been improving. Then you have Chase, who took second in Toronto. His back shots are lights out. He took fifth in New York Pro. He's been a pro for a couple of years now, so he has the experience on the stage as a pro. His stage presence is perfect. He really owns the stage. He really took over the stage present game once Sadiq left, I think. Has really, really done a great job with that. George Brown, he's placed top 10 in 5 pro shows. He's just George Brown is George Brown. They call him, they don't call him Big George Brown for nothing. That guy, I believe, could place anywhere from second to third to fourth to fifth, depending on how everyone else is that day. Like, the problem with physique guys is you only have half your body, So when you're judging half your body and you come off a little bit, you can't pick it up anywhere else, So he could sneak anywhere up to second too, I believe. Then you have Microbe Evans. He was top 7 at Olympia. I believe the next guy on the list, Sadiq, and him could be interchangeable. I don't have Sadiq in the top, couple places. I just don't think he's going to be able to compete size-wise. I know he's put on a lot of muscle since switching over from Classic back to Physique. I just don't see it happening, though, because those guys are so 3D in the top couple of placings. They're so thickly muscled. Sadiq has got that longer muscle bellies. He's more of a stringy-looking, extremities. He doesn't have that muscle fullness like the rest of them have. He's got long arms. I do believe he's definitely brought up the muscular level to his physique, but I don't think he's there yet to compete with these guys. I think Sadiq had his chance to win the Olympia when he switched over from Classic. I think that was his time when he was striking when the iron was hot, and then he left it when he was hitting his stride. Not just my feelings on it. I don't think that he can't ever win again, but I feel like the whole nature of the division has changed. What they look for and what they like, and stage presence and muscularity is much different now. Sadiq was trying to win back in 2012, I think it was, or 13. He took fourth, and then he took second, and then he took second again, and I think he took third, or something like that. Fourth, second, third. Yeah, I think that was something like that for the Olympia. And I think he was right there if he stuck with it. I really do. And he just kept grinding away and putting on the muscle he needed to. I think that was the next year was his. To round off the top 6, 7, I have Logan Franklin, who is, I think, one of the most impressive physiques in the lineup. He's tall-statured, looks like a guy from the movie 300. He's shredded, real alpha male looking guy. Tremendous back, like dice from head to toe. I don't know why he's not higher up. To be honest, he could place or win this show, and he honestly could win any show. But he was outside the top 10 last year, the Olympia. He wasn't 100% on, but he was 7th the year before that, and he was 4th at the Arnold last year. I hope he hits 4th again, at least. I have him in 6 or 7 with this lineup, just because it's very competitive. And these guys in the top couple of placings just have totally different physiques than him. So it's hard to say, hey, yes, you're going to win, Logan, or hey, you're going to play 6, because I don't know what these judges like. And then once they get a pattern, they kind of stick to it for a minute. That's why Andre and Ray have been up top for a while, because that's the pattern they like right now. And that's the trend. So I don't know if Logan can compete with them as far as 3D muscle goes. Logan is heavily muscled upper body. He's a big guy. He's not a small guy by any means, but the other guys are just so round and full in their chests and their backs. It's hard to stand next to them, even if you are a taller physique. But we will see what happens. These classes have just as much anticipation as it does the open classes. I'm actually excited this year to cover these classes and see how they do. A lot of familiar faces, a lot of rivalries, and the tension gets hot up on stage with these guys. So it's really exciting to watch, especially at the Arnold, with the coverage they have and the amount of people that go to this show. It's much different than the Olympia. So that wraps up the coverage for your classic class and your physique class. I will be covering the show, like I said, all weekend long, so make sure you stay tuned for updates here on Generation Iron. And make sure you subscribe and like Generation Iron and follow me at Nick World Class on Instagram. And this is Nick Trigili, IFBB Pro, signing out.